Today is the official launch of virtual reality language immersions at DLS, and we're super excited to introduce those to you and kind of clarify what they are and how you can experience one of those if you haven't already. My name is Jessica. I've been working on the VR team and have helped select some of the locations and do background research to design the learning path in terms of culture and geography. You'll also see Sean Macbeth here. He designed the tech aspect of our virtual reality program, and he'll be handling the Q&A portion at the end. And then two other key members here are Judith and Leah, and they've been integral in supporting the project. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be here for about half an hour. We'll have just a 10-minute kind of overview of what VR looks like. And then Leah will take you on a tour through one of our modules, and then we'll wrap up with a Q&A. So we'll just go ahead and get started just with a short video.
At DLS, we know that learning a language goes beyond traditional classroom instruction. We use engaging activities and real-life experiences to fully immerse students. Using course curriculum integrated with the latest technology, you and your instructor explore and collaborate in a virtual environment. Using VR technology, visit real-life locations to engage in everyday activities and immerse in local culture in your target language. At DLS, we build our language programs around your goals. Whether it's to refresh your language or to learn a new one, DLS has full and part-time courses customized for your needs. Our student success matters to us because language matters to us all.
So here's an overview of what we'll be looking at today now that the video has given you the big picture. We'll start off by introducing immersions in VR and what those look like. After that, we'll talk about the foundational principles and kind of how VR fits into your language course overall, how it can align with your objectives, and how it can kind of be tailored to what you need or what your goals are after completing your course at DLS. Then we'll get a product overview from Leah. She'll take you on a tour, show you what some students who participated in our VR trials, what they have done and what they've experienced, and how the teachers can kind of integrate culture as well as an immersive experience with VR. And then we'll talk about how to request an immersion. Our foundational principles here. As you know, you guys are experienced language learners, some of you speaking multiple languages. Language is culturally embedded. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. And every part of language is part of culture. So with our VR experience, we tried to capture that as much as possible. So as you saw a little bit in the video, each VR immersion is set in a foreign location. So you get to put the headset on and you get to go to a specific place in your target region and explore or discuss significant areas or sites or aspects there. VR is interactive. You go into the environment with your instructor and it's conversation based. You get to use the target language and hear the target language. It's task based, as the majority of our curricula are here. So whatever your level is, whether you're coming in at a novice level, intermediate, or are quite advanced, you can still take part in a VR immersion because your instructor can tailor it to your level. So whatever tasks come in at whatever level you are, you can experience that through VR. And then I don't know if anyone here has a VR headset, if you use it for games or anything else. But as you know, VR engages several different modalities. So visual, oral, proprioceptive, and this really makes your language learning impactful. It starts off all kinds of cognitive connections, and it can help increase retention, increase motivation, and then obviously just give you a ton of cultural knowledge. So those are our foundational principles. And then this is what the VR homepage looks like. So we'll share the website with this at the end. You can access it and see what the modules are. And then you also access this through the headset. So currently we've got 3 languages with more being added shortly. We use the Oculus Quest 2 headset. If you have your own headset, you can access or set up an immersion with your teacher, or we can ship you a headset, or you can come into our offices and get a headset there. It's also integrated into your curriculum. So for each language immersion, there are pre-immersion tasks and post-immersion tasks that are in your LMS. And those are added in 1 week before your immersion is scheduled. So you and your instructor can look through and decide what the best way is to either prepare for the immersion or reflect on it once you've completed it. So this is a little preview of our Chinese module. This is in Fujian province, which is in southeast China. It's a famous two-low building. If you have seen the movie Mulan, this is where they live in this kind of circular building. It's a huge domestic tourism destination in China. And so this is where our Chinese module is located. And then our Russian one, here you might recognize this as the tallest statue of a woman in Europe. This is the Mamayev Kurgan Memorial Complex in Volgograd. So a huge site for World War II history, which you get to walk through the memorial complex, listen to some audio, read some texts, and see and talk about what happened here, look at kind of how it's represented in Soviet history, and then maybe compare it to today, and talk about how that's reflected in today's Russia. And then finally, our Arabic module takes you to Jordan. One of the trips is Petra, which of course you'll be familiar with. It's very famous. So again, you get to walk through Petra, look at each of the sites. There's some historical information that you can read and see what that looks like. Find more information there. So here are some pictures. You can see that once you're in VR, you have an avatar that you will have your name appear above it. If your instructor has kind of a star over their head, so you can see who your instructor is. So you can go in just you and your instructor one-on-one, or if you are in a group class, you can have 2 learners and 1 instructor who leads you through the experience. So you can see also that the instructor and the students both have pointers, so you can kind of point out specific things or features. You can ask questions and you can discuss in more detail. And of course, your instructor can point out additional things. This is what the VR tiles look like in your LMS. So there's a general VR orientation, and then these are each of the immersions for the Chinese VR module. So the one we saw was the Toulouse building. So you can see the little preview here. And there's several other trips you can take in this same location in China. And this is a preview of what the pre-work and the post-work look like. So you see, you'll have your scenario, you'll have your objectives, you'll have some reading or some listening or some pre-work tasks to familiarize you with the content. Again, you can look through that with your instructor and see what the best ones are for you to complete. And then this is an example of the post-work. So this is a reflection slide where you record yourself speaking and kind of consolidate some of your reflections and what you learned about from this particular immersion. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to Leah now, and she's going to take you on a field trip to show you what an immersion looks like.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you all for joining. Just as a bit of background, my name is Leah Kaufman, and I am in the DLS Asian department as a language training coordinator. I also speak Chinese, and I've taught Chinese at DLS, and I've been helping to develop the VR modules for the Chinese product, and especially helping with student pilots as we've been in beta testing phases for a little over a year. So I'm going to kind of walk you through what it actually looks like in the demo. So I'm just going to play this video and it'll take us through, and I'll just talk over the video. So if you have any questions, you can save those for the end. So this is what the VR site looks like, vr.dlsdc.com. And so you will be joining as a student. So you would come to the page and click on students. And then it takes you to a spot where you write your name, and then your instructor or the person leading your demo will provide you a meeting ID. And that's how the two of you will connect in virtual space. Then there's a bit of tech just to ensure that everything is connected properly. There is sound in the VR environment. So we want to include that as part of the experience. That's part of what makes it an immersive experience, is that you actually get to hear audios or hear the sound of people talking or hear music or running water or birds chirping. And it just adds to that sense that you are actually there, even though you're not. So then once you select your language, it will open up the different options for the different modules. So we are going into Toulouse building for you guys to show you that. So it loads and then you go into full screen. So again, the demo can be done on the website or in a headset. Both are good. Headset is really awesome because you can look all the way around and you really feel like you're there. I know for the Russian module, with that statue, if you get up close to it, you can actually crane your neck to see the very top of the statue, and it's pretty amazing. So let's show you around Toulouse building. So this was filmed on website, so I'm clicking and dragging, but it's a bit smoother when you're on the headset. You can just look around. So you can see that the imagery is 360 images. You can look up, you can look down, you can look all around, and you can see the colors. And so essentially the instructor leading the demo will be familiar with some of the culture and the history around it. And so they'll be able to provide you with some context for where you are. Why is this significant? But again, they will be building in tasks for you based on your level. So that's one of the cool things about this product, is that it can be tailored for any level, just like Jessica was saying. So two students at different levels could do the same module and it would be beneficial to them. So some of the cool features that are embedded in are call out boxes. So whenever you see anything that has a blue line around it, it can be clicked on and it'll pop out to you so you can read it, learn a little bit more about the environment. There's also audios in some of the modules. So there's no audio with this particular video, but in Tulo, you would hear someone starting to talk to you in Chinese. And so part of the tasks for this product are designed around those audios. So listening comprehension. And with this product that we've developed, the VR team has the ability to design and adjust the audios, and we can add things and remove them, so we can actually even further tailor the activities. So that's a very cool feature for further development. So to navigate around the VR environment, you use your mouse or your pointer on your handset to click the blue boxes where it says 4 out of 9. That's just indicating the different stations. And so you just click on those, and that's how you move forward. And when you're at one station, the next station is loading, so it makes for a very smooth transition. So this is another call out box. I'll just pause it. And so this is a store. And so one of the things that I really like about VR is that we have tried to incorporate real life, basically role play opportunities. So you can, come to the store, and maybe if you're in with your classmate, one of you is the shopkeeper and one of you is the customer. And then based on this menu that you see, you can, order your milk tea or order your mango juice, and practice your language like that. All right. So then this is just going to kind of quickly take you around the Tulo building, just showing you, some of the architecture. This is a heritage site in China, so it's a tourist location. So there's a lot of cultural things that can be discussed about this module, and that's something that your instructor would incorporate potentially as you're in the VR environment, getting your opinion about things, asking you what you notice, but then also in the pre-work and post-work activities, there would be context built in and discussion about that. So then this is how you would leave the particular activity by clicking lobby, and then it takes you back to that page. And then you can go into another one as needed. And then to quit the application, you go to quit. And that's how it goes. And so one VR module takes approximately 1 hour, potentially 2 hours to do. So, and this is something that typically is embedded into your class time and is worked into the curriculum that you're already doing. So, vocabulary or grammar structures that you're working on in class, this could be a more real life or experiential application of that in a context where it makes you feel like you are immersed in the culture. And this is especially valuable, if you have a particularly sensitive job or it's just not possible due to COVID to get to another country. It's an opportunity to gain a little more of an insider understanding of the culture, and that can make it even more relevant or give you more context as you're learning the actual language as well. Thanks. I'm going to turn it back to Jessica.
All right. Thank you so much, Leah, for that fantastic demo. And yeah, I just want to emphasize from Leah's, what Leah showed us. She mentioned how you can enter the VR modules are stored on a website, so you can access it there and just have the screen version. And it's still very valuable and very interactive and interesting, and definitely yields a lot of benefits in terms of language and cultural competency building. But really putting on the headset, it's hard to convey through a video how impactful that is, and how it really, even just walking through or around a building, you notice all sorts of things like the type of tea they're selling or the pictures on the wall, because it's so bright and you can see it so clearly. So it's definitely, there's an added dimension of reality and kind of there-ness, for lack of a better word, when you put on the headset. All right, so the final bit here is what to do if you're interested in exploring something like this. If you're studying one of those 3 languages that we currently have available, then you can schedule a VR demo as early as next week or in 2 weeks. So your the first step is just to reach out to your LTS and tell them, hey, I'm interested in doing a language immersion with VR. And then the VR team will follow up with you and reach out. If you don't have a headset, if you have a headset, you can use your own. If you don't have one, then you can either come into our Arlington office and we'll do an on-site immersion there, or we can ship you a headset and you can use that from your home if you're doing online language training. All right, that's the end of our presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to Sean now. And if you have any questions or any comments or anything you're curious about, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we're very cognizant of what's called the simulator sickness issue with virtual reality. It's something that impacts people differently with the latest hardware that we use and with the software techniques that we use. It's approximately 90% of people that go through all of the activities with no issue at all. Of the other 10% of people, we see they feel some mild sense of maybe dizziness or lightheadedness. So we have a practice of spending only 15 minutes in the headset for the very first time that a person is going in, just to make sure that everybody is going to be comfortable while they're doing the VR immersion. And as we progress, we expose people more to more time in the headset. A lot of people who initially do find some difficulty with the headset, they eventually kind of settle down and get used to it. We have not had any instances of anyone getting physically nauseous from the experience. And only on one occasion did one person mentioned that their symptoms had persisted longer than a few minutes after continuing. And that was a person who had not really heeded our suggestions to take breaks, and they just wanted to keep going right on through. They said they were having fun and weren't really paying attention to time. And then they said they had felt dizzy for about 10 minutes after taking off the headset for about an hour. They had been in the headset for their very first time for about an hour. So I think, we're going to continue to always be very cautious about the simulator sickness issue. Like I said, it can impact different people very differently. But I think that it's largely solved, and we can continue on. Yes, that's actually built into our system. We've designed the system to be usable from a standard desktop experience. It's also usable from an Android smartphone. That's kind of one of the other mitigating factors for that simulator sickness issue. Though we have not had anybody who has had an extreme reaction, we've kept this feature around that if they still wanted to do the module, but we're having trouble with the headset, then the desktop experience was available. So we have a pretty strong commitment to being accessible with our software. So we will always have that feature available.
In terms of language skills, the immersions, the VR immersions really focus on the major modalities. So listening, reading, and speaking. You won't really find discrete grammar exercises, although you might see those. You'll definitely see like vocabulary flashcards in the pre-work. So if there's some specific vocabulary or what might be like technical or blocking vocabulary, you'll see that in the pre-work. But just as with any real immersion, like if you were going to have an immersion set up at DLS or go to a place in country, you're expected to understand and communicate in kind of a live setting. So that's the structure of these immersions, although you'll find vocabulary for sure, and in some cases, grammar in the pre-work. Great question.
We currently have 15 headsets and are in the process of acquiring 25 more. So before the end of the year, we should have 40 headsets. And for students that are coming into the office for their classes, like we said before, you spend about an hour in the immersion. So we would be able to provision those headsets, 40 headsets across quite a few number of people during a week. When it comes to shipping headsets out, yeah, that does tie up the headset for a longer period of time. But in general, we're working with instructors and students to schedule these sessions ahead of time so that we can plan out the resource usage and make it sure everybody gets a headset available. Yeah, we don't have hard and fast minimum requirements, as we don't have a gigantic testing lab like a large AAA game company would have. We've successfully tested it across a medium range of devices from within the last 5 years that are smartphones and desktop PCs. The latest MacBook Pros, for example, run the website completely fine without the need of an additional GPU. Any computer older than 5 years without an actual graphics card inside of it probably won't run it the best. Though older gaming computers going back even maybe 10 years would probably run the system fine. I'm not sure if that completely answers your question. Sometimes the limiting factor is the large screen real estate on a computer, on a desktop computer. I have a 4K screen hooked up to my computer, and if I disable the graphics card and run just off of the CPU, it's not enough to run the full 4K screen. But if I resize the window down, the browser window down, then it starts running smoothly again.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for attending, and hopefully we can see you soon in the virtual space. If you have any questions, and if you are studying a language not listed in one of our three, we are in development with additional languages. So if you have something that you'd like to request or push to the top, feel free to reach out to your LTS or the VR email address and just let us know. Thank you so much and have a great afternoon, everyone.